for people to actually say, what are they doing? It's not called sacrificing, it's called what? Slaughtering. It's just like the word, one who is a freedom fighter and one who is a terrorist. It's just depending on which light you're looking at it on. Which one do you label it as? The one on your side is called what? Freedom fighter. The one on their side is called a what? Terrorist. It's the same thing. Slaughter, sacrifice. But just slaughter, bring it home. The priest's hand is as dirty. That's why we read last night that it's the same thing with the people, it's the same thing with the priest. The same thing that Jacob was doing is the same thing that what? Laban was doing. Laban was like, listen, I got a healthy young man here. I am going to work him because I got these lazy sons. And I could barter with him. Just like his daughter said, he has sold us for this much. See? So now the monarch of Ahijah came and he said, the angel of Elohim spoke unto me in a dream saying, Jacob, and he said, here I am. Is that suspect or what? Hey, if a Malachim of the Most High appear to you, Chelsea, what are you going to say? Here I am? What would you say? I'd be falling down, man. And he said, lift up now thine eyes and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring straight, speckled, and glistening. For I have seen all that Laban do unto you. Now listen to this now. Verse 13.
I am the El of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and return to the land of your birth.
Now stop right there for a minute. The same Malachim, or Malach is talking, right? Is she talking for or is she implying him? He said, I am the El of Bethel, where you anoint the pillar and where you vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land and return unto the land of your kindred. The only thing I like in that whole verse is come out of her, my people.
That suspect anointing, that suspect vowing, tithing, billing that altar, and all.
Well, we see this same document, the E document, is what lines up with the documents 4 chapters beforehand when Jacob had the same dream. And where he made a vow. It's interesting that when we go back and we look at it, the way it reads from the Y document, it doesn't say that at all. It stops after he had the dream and he built an altar. That's it. And then he went from there to where Laban was. But here we have him reminding him that he would give, what did he say he would do?
Give him a tenth of everything.
Now listen to that good, Uncle Luke, what you just said. He reminded him of what? He would give, he been there for 20 years. And don't tell me you don't have nothing, because you have increased. You even have a priest that you could give it to there. Who was he going to give this tent back to? Verse 13, the part in there we should pay attention to is, come out of her, my people, and go back to the land where you're supposed to be. Verse 14. Now listen to Rachel and Leah now. They're not arguing no more. They're on Jacob's side. They're not saying, well, we got 12 children among us, because they don't have Benjamin yet. We have 12 children among us, and you know what? Jacob, me, and Rachel want to talk to you for a long time anyway. Because some stuff been going on and we don't agree with. No, that's not what they said. Listen to what they said, verse 14.
Then Rachel and Leah answered him, is there any portion or inheritance left to us in our father's house?
Well, is there?
No.
Why?
Because they should have gotten the dowry. They should have received something from their father other than his handmaid. And they didn't. And Laban has consume this thing that would have been
He living
their
large.
means to live if anything happened in this marriage.
So he's living large, Laban.
Exactly.
And I've taken from them.
Exactly.
And now,
that's why they say he has sold us. That's also why they come and are on Yaakov's side.
mm-hmm.
In other words, they've now turned to their husband. We both got children, so nobody's going anywhere. And now they turn to their husband with this thing. Because Laban has not only mistreated Yaakov, he's mistreated them.
Mm-hmm. Well, just from the way that he gave them to her,
Right.
to him, is a way that he mistreated them. But now, who's the one with the most increase? It'd be crazy for them to say, no, we want to go back with Pops. We want to have 15 cattle. And you got a whole flock over here that is multiplying, gristled, speckled, spotted, and all these different kind of animals. We're going to go with you.
But remember, Laban still had flock. He just didn't have
Increase as much.
what Yaakov had, right?
Mhm.
Because his sons are the ones that were keeping, in chapter 30, his sons were the ones that were keeping the father's flock. And they had went a 3-day journey and separated from Yaakov.
Yaakov.
So in order for sons, plural, to be keeping flocks, Laban had flocks.
Mhm.
He was rich when Yaakov got there. He was richer. He was not missing anything. What was it that they were complaining about other than
Greed.
exactly
Greed.
That
and
this guy came and prospered.
evil eye? Yeah,
It was greed.
it was absolutely greed and envy. It wasn't that he was lacking, because he wasn't.
Well, also that you got to remember there only could be one head honcho in this clan. And Yaakov was becoming one of those ones that had increased. And everybody would be looking at him, but he's not one of your sons, Laban. He's a son-in-law. And then the sons know that that's their inheritance anyway.
But it's gone.
Okay, read the next verse for me, Chelsea.
Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us, and he has been using up the money given for us.
Exactly.
The dowry
Yeah.
is what he's using for them. Mm-hmm.
All the property that El has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, do whatever El has said to you. So Jacob arose and set his children and his wives on camels, and he drove away all his livestock, all the property that he had gained, the livestock in his possession that he had acquired in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan.
To go back to where?
Canaan.
Canaan, not Egypt.
Damn.
To go back to the land where Ahiah had promised Abraham that he would give to them. Now remember now, he just didn't say I'm going to give it to only you, but I'm going to give it to your descendants after you also. So now he's going to take his brides. His daddy didn't know that when he sent him to go get a bride, he was going to bring back 4.
4 wives.
Now, how come nobody talk about that? We always talk about Esau going to go and get the daughters of Heth. And Esau was this bad guy because he went and got the daughters of Heth. Well, Yaakov coming back with 4 wives. And a bunch of children. And servants.
Come back with
But you do know the priest wrote that in about Esau going to get the daughters of the Canaanites.
This Canaanite, the daughter of Heth is where he went and got.
The priest put that in
Yeah, because Esau married a daughter of Ishmael.
there. Yep. Sure. Right. The priest put that in there. Excuse me.
Okay. Verse 19.
Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household gods. And Jacob deceived Laban.
Stop right there for a minute, please. Laban had went to shear the sheep, same 3-day journey. And Rachel, knowing the father is gone, went to the father's house and took the images, the gods. That's like, and we wouldn't even look at it like that. When the parents die You go in there and you're like, I want the picture of the Lord's Supper.
Or the cross mama had.
That nice cross the mama have up there with a guy like this. I want that.
And the white shoes with the eyes.
Or I want the family Bible
Yep.
with the Jesus that everywhere you go, I follow you. And you open it to Psalm 23. Those are idols. It's the same thing. Listen, he did not have no little idol set up in the house and say, this is a God over it. It was as common as those things that we have in our homes today. Them same pictures. Those same idols. So she went in and she took this thing. Have you ever walked into a Chinese restaurant?
They got
They
food.
got Buddha in front of it.
And as soon as you walk up to the counter, they got the little image right there. And they have the little food underneath it. Who do you think they're sacrificing to? Their God. And they tell you, come on in and we're going to feed you.
You're a partaker of their sin.
You have now become a partaker of their sin. The same thing that Abraham told Jacob, don't do what? Don't eat their food. Why do you think Daniel chose not to eat from the king's table? Because if he did eat from the king's table, he'd be eating from their sacrifice to their mighty ones. So when you go to these Chinese restaurants
Or any of them.
and you see these statues there, when you go to Kroger and they have selling millions of Easter bunny, what do you think you buy? And then consuming the Easter eggs. When you walk in there, everything is dressed like Christmas.
You partake.
It's the same thing.
It's rose time.
Is it still on time?
Yeah, they just can't see.
Okay, good. So, we see that she went in and took her father's God with her. Now, let's stop right there for a minute again. Do you think she went in and stole these images because she wanted to hurt Laban? What's the purpose, Dr. Scott?
I believe she took them as a way to protect her and her family.
Ah.
She took them as a thing to help enhance them.
She believed that those things would help them on their journey. And we want to bring our gods with us because these are our protectors. Let me tell you something. I am pretty sure that Jacob, we see him saying all this time, the God of the El of my fathers. How come he didn't share that with your wives?
Because he was not saying it in those people's house.
When you in there.
When you live among them, he was not declaring Abraham's El. He might have went into it. But after 20 years of being there, he was fully formed in it too.
What happened when you go around a bunch of Christians that believe just Christianity? You start talking about Elohim, and they're like, who? You sound like the oddball. So after a while, you don't say nothing.
You say Jesus.
If you go to a funeral, and it's all about going to heaven and Jesus and all this, and you go there and say anything different, which you shouldn't do. Because when you're in that setting, leave that setting alone. Don't try and change that setting. So Jacob did not know that Rachel was never stopped worshiping this God. Listen, I want y'all to hear something. It's interesting that Rachel is the one that stole it and not Leah. Because it says that Leah called upon the name of Ahiah, and what did Ahiah do? Open her womb first, 4 times. And it says, and she called upon the name of Ahiah, and she conceived. Rachel, on the other hand, had that curse upon her. So now we see her saying, and listen now, his favorite wife is the one that's bringing it out.
But I do want to add that after she did not conceive, she then called on the name of Ahiah too.
Oh, Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah, but it took her.
It took her